Today we're going to be talking about PlayStation's 30th anniversary trailer, and let me tell you, it is a sight for sore eyes.
Now, for those of you who don't know, this is just a little video that Sony dropped to commemorate 30 years of being in the console business. Some of the games shown off were first-party games, some of them were third-party games. Ultimately, this isn't news, nothing was revealed in this trailer, so we're just going to kind of brush over the parts of the trailer that we personally thought were interesting. This is an opinion video, not a news video, so we're not talking about every single detail, but we are going to talk about some parts that we thought were really cool.
So without further ado, let's get into it. It seems like Sony is finally starting to realize that they need their mascots and they need to actually build a brand, and that's good.
There was a point in the brand's history fairly recently where it felt like the PlayStation 4 was the beginning of PlayStation and they had forgotten everything before that. However, in recent years, it seems like PlayStation is becoming more aware that players like it when the entirety of PlayStation history is acknowledged. We're talking about games like Sly Cooper, Jack and Daxter, and third-party games that we all like Kingdom Hearts and Metal Gear Solid and whatnot. It's really nice to see Sony getting back to acknowledging all of that, and this trailer, it made me nostalgic, and it even made me hyped at a few points. And when you're talking about a trailer that doesn't really reveal anything new about anything, that really says something about how well it's presented. So now we can get into some of the games that were showcased that really, really excited us.
This trailer had some really, really good things about it. It made me both nostalgic and hopeful for the future at the same time.
One of the first parts of the trailer that made me visibly excited was when we see the PlayStation 1 version of Cloud from the original Final Fantasy VII transition into the remake version of Cloud from Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I thought that was really amazing because Final Fantasy is a series that did not start on PlayStation, but arguably got its identity on PlayStation. Certainly the identity that it currently uses. And I think that that's why this was really appropriate for this trailer, and it was just really epic how that was handled, even with the caption, "It's about fantasy." I think, honestly, that couldn't have been handled any better. That was great.
And it was really awesome to see that the fans pretty much agree with the remake of Final Fantasy VII, that they live side by side together. What I mean is the original one, the OG Final Fantasy VII, is a one-to-one to the Final Fantasy VII remake.
And it's also just a way of showing how much gaming as a whole has grown, especially in terms of PlayStation, because you've got the original Final Fantasy VII, which was an early PS1 game, and then you've got Rebirth, which is a game that came out this year on the PlayStation 5. So it's kind of the beginning, and where we're at currently, it's kind of deep when you put it that way. And we got snippets of a few other classic games, such as Crash Bandicoot. We always love seeing that little guy. And Sly Cooper. He doesn't get as much credit as some icons do, but I'll always love Sly. In fact, I think that his games were some of the best platformers on the PlayStation 2. Sly is amazing, and it's really cool to see him here. Unfortunately, Spyro didn't appear in this trailer, and that was a little bit of a letdown. Spyro was the one game where I was like, this deserves to be here, but sadly it wasn't. However, his successor, Ratchet, was there, and that's always nice to see. We also saw other classics in the trailer, such as Shadow of the Colossus or Metal Gear Solid, and I was really happy that one of the Metal Gear Solid games that they showed was Metal Gear Solid 4, because that was actually the first Metal Gear game that I played back in the day when I was new to the PlayStation 3, and it really left an impression on me. It made me a fan of the series. I liked that game so much, I went back and played a lot of the other Metal Gear games and found out that they were great too. So it was a really good choice to put that one in there.
Metal Gear 4 was special. Not only did it have a compelling story, but it had fantastic gameplay for its time, and believe it or not, it was the first game that I actually fell into the Metal Gear Solid series on. It introduced me to it. Even though it was the fourth installment, it made me want to get into Metal Gear Solid. And I think that in itself is special.
And let's not forget Resident Evil. That was mentioned here. And Resident Evil, is a pretty special series because personally, I'm usually not a big fan of horror games, but Resident Evil really does do it well. I think they have found a way to tastefully do the genre in a way that's not too overly disturbing or depressing, and therefore the games are still fun and interesting to play, at least in my opinion.
I do have to address this, though. I don't think it's the scariest franchise out there. So when it said fear I was thinking more so Silent Hill than Resident Evil. Resident Evil is a horror game, but it's like a physical thing, you know? There's mutants or some kind of parasite or something screwing people up and turning them into monsters. With Silent Hill, it's a prison of the mind. I mean, you could be hurting physically, you could be physically ill, have the most terrible disease in the world, and would be nearly as bad as being in an insane asylum, you know what I mean? So psychological horror definitely is a lot worse than anything physical.
Let's just say the only thing that makes Resident Evil scary, in my opinion, is the gore factor. If you can get past that, it's really not going to bother you. It was also really nice to see games from the PlayStation 3 era like Uncharted and Little Big Planet, especially Little Big Planet, given that it's not in a very good situation right now, considering all three of the mainline games are no longer supported, and Sony even delisted Little Big Planet 3 from the PlayStation stores. So yeah, Little Big Planet has seen better days. It's good Sony is at least acknowledging it.
I don't really know why Sony pulled Little Big Planet 3 from the store. That just doesn't make sense to me because it's not totally online. Little Big Planet's never been totally online. There's a story mode, and you can also create content offline, so I don't really see why they would do this. But yeah, that's the reality. This is reality.
But since this is a video based around our opinion, I'm gonna talk about what hyped me more than anything, the fact that Kingdom Hearts was in this trailer. I've mentioned before that Kingdom Hearts is my all-time favorite game franchise, and it really was awesome to see it represented in this trailer, especially since it didn't get to make it into Astrobot, although I've heard that's largely Square/Disney's fault. I don't really know the whole story behind that, but apparently Square was very apprehensive about putting their characters into that game for some reason, which really kind of upsets me, but regardless of that, it's nice that their characters are in this trailer, and Kingdom Hearts being in this trailer really put it over the top for me. I just got so excited I wanted to jump out of my chair when Sora popped up in the trailer.
Yeah, I'm always happy when Sora makes an appearance in anything. I'm a big Sora fan, and it's been quite a journey. I know how I said before that Spyro made me the gamer I am today. Well, to clarify, it was a bunch of things, but to put it roughly, if Spyro was the door, then Kingdom Hearts was the awakening. Kingdom Hearts is the reason I got into JRPGs and anime.
And, the same goes for me. Kingdom Hearts wasn't the first game I played, but it was the game that made me the gamer that I am today. It's just a really special franchise all around. It's a franchise that has never ceased to be amazing in my opinion, and believe me, I quarrel with the fan base quite a bit with that opinion because a lot of them seem to think that some of its best games are bad for some reason. But I love Kingdom Hearts, and I just can't put into words how much the franchise means from a nostalgia standpoint, as well as just how much it means currently. Kingdom Hearts is always going to be a series that's special to me.
Ditto. It inspired a lot of my internet endeavors, including this channel. Yes, if it wasn't for Kingdom Hearts, this channel would not exist.
So yeah, there you have it. It was a trailer that was hype in a lot of ways, but to me, the most hype part was Kingdom Hearts being there. Kingdom Hearts is just a special series to me, and it always will be, and it's hard for me to not feel joy whenever I see Kingdom Hearts pop up in something like this. I give the trailer a rating of almost perfect. I think that it included pretty much everything that it needed to include. I would have really liked to have seen Spyro in there because even though he may not be as popular as Crash, I think he was still an important part of PlayStation history. But regardless, I think that when you count all the other stuff that was shown, there's not much to complain about, especially considering that some of my most favorite games of all time were in there. I'm pretty happy with the results. All in all, it was really great.
The trailer was really good for me too. The only thing I can actually say about it, and this is probably a nitpick, is I didn't really like the music choice. It had some of that touchy-feeliness that you got in the 20 teens that I didn't really like. That's what it appeared to me to be. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the Cranberries. Right off the bat, it didn't really make much of an impact, or I would have remembered. But I'm pretty sure that's the Cranberries, and even though it was essential.
Okay, dude, stop. Now the comments are going to be filled with people saying you don't know anything about music.
What are you saying to me right now? You're saying that if I don't like it, then I don't know anything about music, because that is wrong.
Okay, I'm just going to move on to the next segment before this dumpster fire grows bigger.
I have the right to my opinion. I'm going to say it.
Something that's also a part of Sony's 30th anniversary celebrations for the PlayStation are these semi-themes that they've added. I say semi-themes because they're a little bit different than how we've known themes on past Sony consoles, but they're still pretty cool nonetheless. So because this is about the 30th anniversary of PlayStation, we've got a theme for every past console in PlayStation's lineup. We've got a theme that gives us PlayStation 1 sounds, PS2 sounds, PS3 sounds, PS4, you get the picture. Every past PlayStation console gets a theme, and in my opinion, they're really good. I especially like the PlayStation 2 one. That blue color that it gives the background is really, really nice, and those sound effects are the best in my opinion.
I don't know about you guys, but it's really, really cool to see the evolution, hear the evolution of the PlayStation button sounds. I thought that in itself was interesting.
Also, for a limited time, when you boot up your PlayStation, it's going to use the PS1 introduction sound, and I gotta tell you, when I booted up my PS5 and I heard that PS1 introduction sound, I did a double take. I was like, what happened here? And then I was like, oh, this is part of their 30th anniversary celebrations, and that was a pleasantly shocking surprise. I love the PS1 startup sound. In my opinion, it's probably one of the best startup sounds for any console ever, and it's really cool that they have incorporated that for a limited time here.
Yeah, it was a nice surprise. A really, really nice surprise.
You don't get to reference Christmas movies in a gaming video.
I just did. So, what did you think about Sony's 30th anniversary celebration? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Please tell us in the comments. And remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.